Grand Rising, happy day to you. It's a beautiful day today in Charleston, South Carolina. That's where I am. Sitting outside enjoying the sun early in the morning. Um, it's just beautiful out here. This is my view. It's totally beautiful. Downtown, just enjoying the sights because it's so beautiful. So, what are we going to talk about today? Because I feel like there's definitely a topic of discussion that needs to be had. Just need to figure out what it is. Okay. Um, I have been focusing on self-reflection a lot. Oh, that music in the background killing me. It's not killing me. It's a little irritating. I have to be more careful with my words, y'all. But anyways, yes, I've been doing a lot of self-reflection and a lot of talk about self-reflection and things dealing with self-love, self-care, because it's important on our journey when we are focusing on ourselves to do the best things that we need to do for ourselves. It's important that we include that self-love and self-care and self-talk. So that's what the focus has been on in the past. But today I want to get a little bit more in depth. I want to talk about relationships and communication in relationships, the importance of being able to communicate effectively in relationships, and not just romantic relationships, but just period, in friendships, romantic relationships, family relationships, whatever the case may be. How do you communicate? Do you communicate well with your family and friends and coworkers? Do you believe you do? Well, I came across this book. It's so excellent, y'all. And y'all know I'm always supporting others, and I love to support others and encourage others in what they do. And I came across this book. I'm in this group on Facebook. It's called Progressive Love Academy. And there's pretty much a platform that's created by these two people, and it's a married couple, but they're polyamorous, which I love because I'm polyamorous. Kenya K. Stevens and Carl Stevens, aka Rakim Sekou. They wrote this book called Up Level Communication. It's UPLVL. It's on Amazon.com. And I read this book. I'm actually still reading the book. I'm more than halfway through. I probably have like 30 pages left. But it's an excellent book. And I thought I knew how to communicate well and communicate effectively until I read the book. And then I learned that there's so much more. I love learning new stuff. I love learning things. I believe that I am a master teacher, but in order for me to be a master teacher, I have to be a master student. That's the way I look at it. So I look at myself as a master student first so that I could be a master teacher. I have mastered some things in my life, and therefore that's the things that I share and teach about. But this particular thing, communication, up level communication, baby, I have not learned that. I'm actually putting it in practice in my life right now. So it's a great book. It really focuses on the different aspects of our being, the animal, the ego, and the higher self, which are three perspectives of our being. We have the animal that speaks out when we're totally angry, just like, psh. And then we have the ego that's always up front, more so than others. Yeah, I love the way that my melanin is just shining in the sunlight. It's beautiful. I'm so thankful that I'm a melanin queen. I had to say that. Sorry. Okay, let's get back to what we're talking about. So we have the animal, the ego, and then the higher self. The higher self is our true self, our consciousness that speaks subtly. It's more like your intuition, that feeling, that language, that voice that you hear in your mind that guides you and leads you and tells you, the things that you should do. And so in up-level communication, they focus on those three aspects of the spiritual being, of us, of who we are, and talk about the different ways of how we should communicate, the importance of communicating effectively, because most times when we are in a heated conversation, debate, argument, or what have you, or we are triggered, we often respond with our animal. We're not responding from a reserved, conscious place, or a place where we're looking at the situation from a certain perspective. In our animal, most times, if we're triggered, we feel like somebody has wronged us. Something's wrong, so I got to take up for myself. I have to defend myself, and we respond a certain way. That's the animal instincts in us. That's it. But when we're triggered, there's certain ways to respond effectively and accordingly. Like, we need to take a step back and really process through what's actually happening and realize why we're being triggered. So this book, Up Level Communication, totally explains all of that. And like I said, you can get it on Amazon.com. It's UPLVL Communication. And there's a picture of a beautiful woman on the cover. That's Kenya K. Stevens. That's how you'll know that that's the book. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful book, and it's authored by her and her husband, and it's just amazing. I've learned so much, and I appreciate the universe bringing me that resource, that book, to me, because I was on the path of inner healing and awakening within myself, healing old child wounds, and really digging deep to get on a better path for myself, ascending, evolving, growth, right? And so along this path, I came across this book, and it has really been helpful in helping me to understand how to communicate better, how to process through my feelings and emotions without shame, without blame, without pointing a finger at someone, just to deal with the reality, the situation that is at hand. Because nobody has done anything to me. I create my own reality, even in a sense where, okay, let's say it's me and someone else in an argument. There's something within me that gravitationally, spiritually pulled that situation into existence for myself, because there are things that need to be worked out within me. There are things that need to be pulled out in me. So I have to realize that I create my reality. So whatever it is that I'm experiencing, whatever it is that I'm going through, essentially, I have created that. And I need to be aware of that so that I could be proactive and actively involved in the choices that I'm making. Because if we don't, it's going to happen regardless, whether you're aware of it or not, but you will be essentially living your life within your own creation and not realizing that you are the one who have actually created your journey that you're going through. And so, yeah, I would advise anyone who is on this self journey of healing, ascending, growth, expanding. Expansion is wonderful. Expanding your horizons, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, getting yourself together consciously so that you could live a better life in this earth realm. Please read that book. It will help you. It will help you to understand how you've learned to communicate up until this point and how you can change the way that you communicate to help you along your journey so that your journey can be more productive and that you can communicate effectively with others around you. And it may be a tool that you can use to even share with others to help them learn to communicate better with you. Even if the people around you don't choose to use this way of communication and theory of understanding, you can still use the knowledge that you have in situations with them. It will help you. It'll help you process. It's like that old adage of saying that forgiveness is not for the one who have wronged you, but for the one who was wronged, so they say. So you forgive others to remove the blockages that are along your path so that you can be a better person and move along in life. And so essentially, I believe that learning to communicate with up-level communication will benefit you and those around you, but essentially it's more for you so that you can be the best that you can be in this life for yourself. And then you can have that opportunity to share with others that are around you. Yeah. So today, I just want to, of course, reflect again. You know, it's always about self-reflection and being focused on self, because how can we give unto humanity, how can we give unto the world if we first don't deal with the issues that we have within ourselves, if we first don't address the growth and expansion that needs to happen within ourselves? How can we help? You know, Michael Jackson has this song called Man in the Mirror. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Well, what did he mean by that? In order to make a change, just listen to the words to the song, the lyrics. In order to make a change and make a change today, you got to start with the man in the mirror. Essentially, we have to take a look at ourselves and say, you know, I see me, I see where I am. I have an idea of where I want to go and how I want to be. How do I get there? And just start digging. You know, if you really seek out for the answers, you can have all the answers that you want. Knowledge is the key to life, you know, and knowing is half the battle. We have to be able to understand, comprehend, and understand the way of life that we should live to help us to make this journey easier and better. There are a lot of resources out here in the world: books, movies, webinars, seminars, videos. There are so many tools that we can use at our advantage. People have gone through these experiences and notated their experiences, what they learned, the theories, gathered information and statistics and all that stuff. And a lot of them are putting it together in books or seminars and webinars and sharing that information. And so once you get on that path, it begins to flow to you easily. You know, that kind of information flows to you and helps you to become greater. You know, if you're ready to receive it and embrace it, essentially, it can be the best thing for you along your path. You know, I can't even remember honestly when I really started this path, this journey of my life that I'm on. I would say it dated all the way back to age 16 with me, when I first realized that I was different and I wanted to be different. I didn't want to be like everybody else. And the way that I was growing up in my community and my family, and what I was learning as far as religious beliefs and my faith. I didn't necessarily agree with all the stuff that was taught to me. I always had more questions. I was just like, this doesn't really make sense to me. So I began to do research. I began to study other religions, and um, my faith base as a young child up until the age 16 at that time was Christianity. And I kind of didn't agree with a lot of stuff that I was taught. I didn't understand, and a lot of this stuff didn't make sense to me. So I had to start my own research and journey path of learning and understanding greater. So I started when I was 16. I started studying about different religions and cultures. Like the person that I was drawn to at that time was Bob Marley. So I started studying Rastafarianism and their practices and ways of life and what they did, and learning about that culture and their beliefs. And not that I took to it, like hit the ground running with it, because I didn't. But what I did was I embraced the knowledge that I received from the study. And so I took from it what I wanted to take from it and what I felt I related to and I could agree with. And so I didn't change my eating habits back then, but at the time I felt like it was time for me to shift the outer appearance of myself. And I had started listening to Erykah Badu around that time. It was around the time she came out. And I realized that there was something different about her too. So I related to her. So I would listen to her and, burn my incense, burn my candles, say my little prayers. And I decided to lock my hair. So I locked my hair when I was 17 and a half, I think. My hair's been locked a long time. So I locked my hair then. And back then it was like 96, 95, 96, 96, 1996, so y'all can understand what I'm saying. A lot of people weren't locking their hair back then. It wasn't a trend. And so when I did it, people looked at me funny. They thought I was crazy, and they talked to my mom and be like, what's going on with her? Because I cut all my hair off and, started the locking process. And I had a friend of mine do it for me, and then I just continued it. And I loved it. It was amazing for me. I felt great about my hair. I loved my hair. I actually felt more grounded and connected with the universe at that time because of my hair. And so that just led me into more finding of myself. And as I continued in my studies and my faith and my belief, I began to continue to study about more religions. So I started studying about Buddhism and Hinduism and Muslim. I read the Quran, I read the Torah, I studied things about Hebrew Israelites. I did it all because I wanted to be exposed to everything. I did not want to limit myself to just Christianity. I honestly believe that because I believe that I originated from Africa and my descendants came from Africa too, that I needed to find my roots, pretty much. I need to know where I came from in order to know where I was going. So having different exposures to different religions and cultures was a part of that for me. I wanted to know everything. So by the time I started having children, my hair was still locked. I didn't lock my kids' hair because I didn't want to force something on them. I asked them when they got to an appropriate age if that was something that they desired or wanted for themselves, and they were like, nah. So still to this day, neither one of them have locks in their hair. But I chose that for myself. I had tried to encourage them to do it because I felt like it would be something, good for them, but they didn't choose that. So I raised my kids the best that I could. I continued in my faith. I even went to seminary school, theology school for in the Christian field. I went through the whole 2-year program, got to the end, and realized, like, this is not what I'm going to do. I actually felt that I was called to preach. And I did feel that way. But once I got to the end of the program, Spirit spoke to me. Creator, the voice, spoke to me and said, well done, you've done great, but this is not where you're going to be. You're not going to be preaching in a pulpit. You're going to reach the people, the masses, in a different way. And so I followed what Spirit told me to do. Everything, every ritual, every prayer, everything I was led to do. I started doing meditation. I started this process called mom meditation. Oh my goodness, y'all. It's a practice that Asians do. I don't remember exactly what sector of Asians, but I think Korean. I'm not pretty sure. I don't remember. But it's a practice. It's called MAUM, M-A-U-M, meditation. I started doing that for like 2 months straight. And then once I learned the system, I went into a facility and did it for 2 months straight. Once I learned the system and the routine on how to do it, I continued to do it myself at my home because it was very expensive and I couldn't really afford it at the time. So I learned the system and then I started doing it on my own. That process alone within itself was something that really helped me. And I'm telling y'all all this because life is a process. And what we do in life either helps us or hinders us. And we are the creators of our lives. We choose. We choose to vibrate high or we choose to vibrate low. And the frequency of our vibration is what attracts certain things to our life. Like the law of attraction is so real, y'all. And so that's why it said that we create our own reality. If you want to be rich and famous, if you want to be wealthy, you can be. You can attract that to you. All you have to do is vibrate on that frequency. If you grew up in an impoverished state, in a poor neighborhood, and your family was poor, and this, that, and the third, you don't have to be poor. You don't have to live that way. You can achieve things and go beyond that. And that doesn't just mean, according to the government, the system that they put before you as far as going to college and getting degrees and getting wealthy or rich that way. Because what I've learned is that most wealthy beings don't have college degrees. So how is it that they obtain the wealth that they have without the college degrees? They learned something else. They learned the rules of the universe. They learned the laws of the land, the laws of the cosmic entity around us, environment around us. They learned that instead of just, look at that. Oh my gosh, that bird is beautiful. Okay. They learn those things and they apply it to their life. There's a lot of things that people know that they don't share and tell. Well, I'm a healer of the nations, and I want to share my wealth of knowledge and wisdom with the masses. Of course, I don't want to just, like everybody else, do it without getting paid. But I do it out of love. I don't do it to get paid. I do it out of love. And so because I do it out of love and I'm fulfilling my purpose within life, the universe supports my purpose. The universe supports what I'm doing for humanity. And therefore, the gifting of what I do is returned to me. So wealth, money flows to me easily. I say that for myself as an affirmation to remind me that I am capable of having whatever it is that I want and I desire. I am currency. I am the flow. I am the flow of life. I am currency. So I don't have to have paper or coins to dictate my lifestyle of living. I can will it and in such a way that it is provided for me without me having to work really hard for it. Opportunities flow to me effortlessly. This is what I've learned over time, you guys. Learning the laws of the universe, which is the laws of attraction. Learning about the laws of Ma'at, which is an Egyptian Kemetic belief. And coupling with all the other things that I've learned in life through studying astrophysics, quantum physics, um, understanding how I was brought here and created, understanding my lineage, the bloodline, my ancestors. If you don't know where you come from, you can't know where you're going. That's just my honest beliefs about that. So, in order to be the best self that you can be, your process, your journey to expansion, ascension, has to begin somewhere. You've been living your life the way that you've been living it for all this time, for so long. If it doesn't work for you, then truly it's time for you to find something different, a different way to go at life. They say that the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different reaction or response when you know the first time it didn't work, but you keep doing the exact same thing. So if you've lived your life a certain way for so many years and that way has not propelled you forward, progressed you forward, gotten you what you want out of life, if you always feel like somebody else is always in control, that you living a happy life depends on somebody else, you're sadly mistaken. I don't mean to say it that way, but it's the truth. You control your life. You create your own reality. You don't have to live unhappy. You don't have to live without joy. You don't have to be sad. Now, depression is real. I do understand that. And a lot of things can happen to unfold in our lives that can cause us to be depressed. But there are ways to pick ourselves up out of that and ways to move forward through it. So with all that being said, Queen Kenya, the life coach here, ready to just give you everything that you need, support you on your journey, encourage you, be your cheerleader along the way, share my own experiences with you to let you know that I can relate. I will be as transparent as possible. Baby, when I tell you, I done had some experiences in my life that you would not believe. But I count it all joy. And I still take with me the foundation that I grew up with. I didn't just totally disregard my Christian beliefs or throw them out the window. There are some things in the Bible that I still hold on to that are true, because the Bible to me is just signs and symbols, and you have to have understanding to decode, understanding the parables, understanding what was meant, because everything in it is not meant for good for particular people. And so I learned that for myself. So I learned how to pull from it what I need, pull from it what works for me and what's great. And for some people, they would say, oh no, that's not good, you can't do that, you can't pick and choose. Well, why you can't? Because life was existing before that Bible was created. There was so much literature circulating around the world, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Gospels of John, the Gospels of Magdalene. There's so much. I could go on and on. That's a whole nother thing. Maybe I'll talk about religion on one of these things. I don't know. But the point is to be our best selves and to fulfill a great journey of life within this life. We have to start where we are. And a lot of times starting where we are looks like reflecting on the past and remembering those learned childhood behaviors that oftentimes cause issues in our right now life. Those are the things that might trigger us. If you're dealing with insecurity and jealousy, it's not really about what's going on in your right now situation. It's probably about some that happened in your past as a child. Maybe you were abandoned as a child. Maybe your parents didn't love you the way that you really needed to be loved. Not saying that they didn't love you, but you didn't receive enough. There was not enough nurturing there. There was not enough anything that you needed there. Instead of having the examples before you to be a productive person in society, you had dysfunctional stuff before you, and you picked that up because you was a child and you just went with what you saw and you learned those behaviors, and here you are. So I don't know what stage of life you're in when you see this. I don't know. When I say that, I mean like what age you are. You could be 20, you could be 19, you could be 18, you could be 21, 22, 23, so on and so forth. 50 and over. I don't know. But it's never too late to start where you are, to become your best person, to make your life even better. And I promise you, if you're seeing this, then you're definitely on the path to awakening and ascension. Because it's time in this age that we're living in, the age of Aquarius, it is time for us to be our best. So much so that in me finding out being my best, I had to change my eating habits, start exercising more, because I had to learn more about my body. This vessel is so important um, in this walk of life. This avatar is so important. You know, we got to be able to manipulate our energy within this physical environment that we're in, and we got also have to understand the spiritual and consciousness of our beings, to also know that there's things going around us that we can't even see. You know, we can see the physical stuff, but there's stuff in the atmosphere spiritually that we can't even see that's going on around us. So in order for to have that understanding about those things, we got to dig deep. We got to dig deep. We got to look for the resources. We got to gain the knowledge. We got to look beyond what's essentially just put right before us, what they've given us. Because 9 times out of 10, what's just been handed to you or given to you, in a sense of knowing yourself within the world, is not all there is to be. So there's a lot more. And so you must find out what that is. There are no educated fools. Knowledge is wealth. Knowledge is power. And so we need to seek out the resources, the information, and know that we are intelligent beings. We are capable of so much more than what we've been told. We are superhumans, I guarantee you. We all have powers. We just need to tap into them and get into the correct frequency and molecular positioning of our bodies, minds, and spirits, to position ourselves to receive that we want. And I don't just say this to you guys just to say, oh, this is what you need to do. This is what, no, I need to do the same thing. I'm currently doing that each and every day, and I keep a great outlook on life. Things might not always happen the way I want them to happen. And so in that, what I've learned is I created that reality. Okay, so what thoughts subconsciously have I been thinking? Have I been doubting myself? Have I been doubting this situation? How did this reality come about? I am now living in Charleston, South Carolina. And I've always wanted to live in a city by the water and be able to go to the beach. I live 15 minutes away from the beach. How did I get here? I created this reality. I made it happen for myself. You can have whatever it is that you want. There is so much more that I want. This is just the beginning. There is so much more that I want for myself in this life. And I know that I can achieve it. I can achieve anything that I put my mind to. I just have to get what I need to get in order to put myself in position. And sometimes that requires me to do certain rituals, certain practices. I love the moon, following the moon cycle, having an understanding of astrology and the moon and how that works. You know, maybe that's not your thing, but you got to find out what your thing is. Really, truly, you got to find out what your thing is. And as a life coach, if you choose me as your life coach, I, Queen Kenya, will help you, encourage you, assist you in finding out what that truth is. We can get down to the bottom of that, because that's what needs to happen in order for you to expand as a human being, in order for you to ascend in this life, and so that when you leave this earth realm, you can ascend and go higher to greater heights of where you need to be. This is only a part of the path. We are energy. We live forever. We never die. We live forever. And so our consciousness is constantly available and alive. But some of us, we don't even really know the truth behind that. If you've ever seen the movie The Matrix, you have to look at it from the spiritual aspect and not just look at it as a computer generalized, um, movie. There's, there's so much depth in that movie, and that's what I often reflect back at, for myself, to remind myself of the different paths that life takes me on, and the choices that I have to make, and how life evolves around me. So anyway, I've been talking for quite some time. I don't really want my videos to be this lengthy and this long. But if you have tarried with me to the end, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your energy. And essentially, I hope that I've given you something that will help you. If you want me to be your life coach, reach out to me. Send me a message. If you enjoy this, like, subscribe, comment. I really, truly appreciate the opportunity to be who I am and to do what I'm doing, because there's an audience out here for me, and that I am grateful for. I am grateful for you. I'm grateful for my life. I am grateful for this beautiful sun shining on my melanin skin, activating life within me. I'm beautiful for the water before me, giving me peace, calming energy. I'm just so grateful. Look at this, y'all. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. It's beautiful out here. So I'm not at the beach today because it's not quite warm enough yet, but I am out here. So until next time, peace, love, and light. And remember those things that I have spoken to you. And if you're ready to begin your journey, know that you create your own life. And the journey begins with you. It starts with you. I am ready to help you awaken, inspire you to be your best self, the best version of you, and encourage you to live out that life. That's my motto: awaken, live, and inspire. I want to help people be their best versions of themselves. That's my whole life purpose. I'm here out of service. And that's what I want to do. That's what I am doing. That's what I'm going to continue to do till I leave this earth realm. So, love and light and peace to you today. Happy day. Love you guys. Peace.